Have you ever been asked to work overtime to meet a certain deadline? Or was it your idea to work overtime? Or are you in a team that runs regular overtime, or where it's normal to just work more than 40 hours a week? Have you ever burned out or actually been physically sick because of too much overtime? Or maybe you have somebody close to you in that situation? In this video, I'll argue it's best to work smarter, not more, not harder. I want to talk about the extreme programming principle of sustainable pace and how to start applying it to your team. Let's get into it. Part 1. How overtime works. Overtime gives you quick results for a week, maybe 2. But the price you pay is that you have less efficiency in the future. And you have lower quality now. This happens because you're squeezing too much out of people. It's like draining a battery. If it's empty, it's not going to give you any more power. Yes, you buy more productivity for a week or maybe 2. But really nothing more than that. Because after this initial burst of productivity increase, the output diminishes and actually gets below what the normal output, the baseline output would be, because the battery is empty. You pay with less productivity 2 weeks in the future because people get tired. People make more mistakes because of that. People are less motivated. They start cutting corners. They need to make decisions to get it out fast. So they'll sacrifice quality and they'll choose the shorter term decision instead. But loads more things happen to teams psychologically and behaviorally that make it work this way, that make it inefficient to work overtime for longer periods of time. You can read all about this on the internet. But the important part, if you look at the sustainability of the software, is that you are lowering the changeability of the software. You are increasing the cost of change of the software because you're lowering quality now. It becomes a bit more of a big ball of mud. And if you do this for longer periods of time, it becomes a very big ball of mud. Is that really what you're willing to pay with? Are these features that you want to crush out for this deadline right now really worth that kind of sacrifice? I don't think so. When you want to increase velocity, adding more people to a team also doesn't work. In fact, the opposite happens. You initially go down in velocity the moment you add people to a team, because these people will need to be onboarded. You will have increased communication overhead, and there's an ideal team size upon which it isn't effective anymore. If you start onboarding people, you need to spend time on that person to get them up to speed and effective. So you are not spending time on building the feature if you are helping them onboarding. And if you don't help them onboarding, they're going to take forever to be effective, and they will still have questions, so they will still take your time. The more people you have in a team, the bigger the communication overhead you have. You need to communicate with more people. This simply costs more time. Your meetings will take longer. You have this idea in communication that the ideal team size is 6 to 7 people, because communication doesn't take too much overhead then. And these 7 people, for example, they are also including your product owner, your UX designer. So that's not 10 developers in a team, that's only 4 developers, maybe 5 in a team. Adding more than 7 people to a team is not going to speed you up further, it's only going to slow you down. There's this joke in project management. You cannot make a baby in 1 month by having 9 women work together. There are lots of processes that simply are difficult or impossible to speed up. They just take a natural pace. Software development is exploration. It is very difficult to speed up. It is not assembly line work. You're not building the same thing again and again and again, which is easy to automate and speed up. No, software development, you're building something new. You need to figure out where to go. You don't know the design up front. You don't know the exact separation of concerns that will yield high code quality. You don't know the right sort of coupling that you will have in your code base for the long run. So it's exploration, and that is very difficult to speed up. The only way I know of actually speeding up a team is doing it from inside of the team. Developers asking themselves, how can we optimize our process? And extreme programming and agile and scrum, they all try to achieve this. And they do so explicitly without overtime. Extreme programming also states that a non-consistent pace makes planning difficult. Imagine you have crunch time every now and then. You have a week of crunch time, a few weeks of normal, then a week of crunch time. Your output, your velocity will go up and down a lot if you look at it over weeks or months of time. This makes planning very difficult. Or worse, it makes you plan around, this is where we're really effective because this is where we have crunch time, so let's assume the highest velocity can be achieved if we need it for the team. I don't know why the rest of the time the team is lazy. People are not actually malicious and thinking these kind of things, but subconsciously this may happen. One of the insights behind the XP principle of sustainable pace is that it's not worth it to try and make a team go faster from outside of the team. It's not worth it because the cost is higher than the gain. People will be less efficient for a while if you have burned them out, if you have drained their batteries, if you have stolen their motivation away. A company and a manager should never ask for overtime from a team because it's not worth it. And a company and a manager should also not add people to a team with the idea of speeding it up. Other ways to kill sustainability is to work in a fixed time, fixed scope manner. That is the waterfall way of working, where you set a deadline, the fixed time, and you have a very detailed, concrete description of what exactly needs to be built. Fixed scope. Since software development is exploration and you're not doing factory work so you can just execute it, no, you need to think about where to go and approach the work exploratory. These things don't work and something is going to give. You're not going to meet the deadline, or you're not going to meet the exact scope, or you're going to meet both but you're going to burn your people out. None of which is sustainable. When you want to increase velocity, you should do so from inside of the team, not outside. There's many mechanisms specifically designed for this process, to increase velocity, to improve the process, to increase people's happiness, to increase the quality of the software. And they're the things we know. Retrospectives, test-driven development, pair programming, continuous integration or trunk-based development. Those were all specifically designed to increase the quality, the stability and the throughput, but also keep it all sustainable at the same time. When you want to start doing this, I recommend to start measuring the DORA metrics. There's 2 metrics on increasing stability and there's 2 metrics on increasing throughput. They're designed to increase the speed at which you deliver value. Not output more features, no, build less features and output more value. What is actually the outcome that the user wants to achieve? Those mechanisms are designed for that kind of thing. But you can help, of course. You could see where the blockers of the team are, where the dependencies. Does this team have a dependency on another team or another person? Could we remove that dependency? Because communication within the team is really fast, but communication outside of the team is really slow because this person's somewhere else, not always available or in a different time zone and stuff like that. Can we pull that person in? Or can we make this dependency optional by automating part of it? Or is it other obvious stuff like, hey, my laptop is really slow, and get that person a new laptop if they're waiting and wasting time all day? As a manager, you should really take this perspective of where are the blockers and where are the dependencies. And this is the way you can help to speed the team up. Maybe I'll turn this into a video at some point if you're interested. Let me know in the comments if you are a manager and you want to learn more about this. Another insight is that the number of hours worked is not the measure of success. And if you increase overtime, you increase the number of hours worked. You're also increasing, usually at least the first 2 weeks, feature output. But feature output, more features, is not the measure of success either. It depends on whether those features are the right thing that users and clients are looking for. Your business, your product people, your company might think they're building the right thing, but if they're not building their software exactly with the user, continuously validating with the user with lots of UX research, doing user story mapping together with your clients and users, and all these activities that validate whether you're building the right thing. If you're not doing them continuously, you don't know whether you're building the right thing. You're just forcing more feature output. More feature output may not be the value that users and clients are looking for. So if you're not sure whether you're building the right thing, when you're not continuously validating with users whether you're going in the right direction, then why would you ask for overtime? Why would you drain the battery of the team so far? People usually have the feeling they get more done when working overtime, at least the first week, but they usually don't. They just cut corners. Working overtime forces decisions into a short-term decision making. It makes you choose the quickest to implement solution. Instead, the measure of success is the right software delivered to users. More software or more features is not success. Building the right thing is success. And being able to keep changing the thing is success. Lowering quality or burning out your team is going to lower the changeability of the software. I've read the following quote in the book User Story Mapping, and I really like it. To build successful products, you want to minimize feature output and maximize outcome and impact output. For me, this quote highlights it's not about working harder, it's about working smarter. And we've also seen that working harder results in working less smart. We should actively try and not work harder or more or faster. We should be focusing as a team, we should be optimizing around what is our sustainable pace. And then working smarter will happen. So the extreme programming principle is called sustainable pace. What is it exactly? It's defined as a sustainable pace of work is a pace of work that you can maintain indefinitely. What this looks like is different for each team, but it does involve a hard limit on 40 hours of working per week. Extreme programming actually specifies this. But the idea is actually bigger than this. It's actually anything that you can't maintain indefinitely should be excluded from your normal way of working. I'm thinking of things like when you're pair programming or mob programming or both, you should never do this for more than 6 hours per day because it just costs too much energy. It's probably not sustainable in the long run to go over that. It drains you. And that is if you're very experienced in these things. If you're not, then 4 hours is probably a better hard limit per day. Switching the driver-navigator roles and the people pairs often enough as well, and taking a 15-minute break every half an hour when you're pair programming and mob programming is also sustainability. Another example is a remote team that on average lives pretty far from the office. They have an hour or more commute or something like that. It's probably going to lower sustainability. It's lowering the pace, the quality, if you demand that team to be in the office 5 days a week. They could also work remotely, or half or more than half of the week. They could also be effective just having one day together in the office. Why would you demand this whole team to be there all the time if the infrastructure of remote working is there? Maybe once a week is enough, depending on people's situations at home. Again, look at the sustainability. I'd like to end with a challenge. See if you can have a retrospective around the sustainable pace principle. Read some articles, watch some more videos, prepare it for a bit, and then just see with your team how you can improve your sustainability, how you can get to your sustainable pace. What should you stop doing, what you should start doing to get to this future. Let me know in the comments what you found. And that's it. I hope you liked it. I hope this was helpful. If you have any thoughts or if you have an idea for a future video, let me know in the comments and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching.